Chaile time. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Chaile Time. Mr. Nell, welcome, and how are you?
Thank you, Tepo. I'm well, and yourself?
I'm good. What is that you've been busy with?
Tepo, I did a hearing at a retail store, one of the most popular retail stores in the country, the brand, but I'm not going to say the name, obviously. And what's quite interesting is that, and this was for a manager, so it's quite a senior person. It's interesting how people, when it comes to theft and taking stuff, how people, they don't realize they're stealing them. And they will argue. So this woman, the company had in the retail store, sometimes you get an item that's damaged. Okay, so there was this pot of cream now that was damaged. So they put it in the office. So what typically happens in the retail industry is they will get the suppliers to come in and will take it and credit it and these kind of things. So that pot went to the office. And then she took it and put it in her handbag and then as she tried to get out of security in the evening, they told her, but listen, this does not have the right sticker on it. You can't just take it out. Not that there is a right sticker for stealing stock, there's a right sticker for maybe transferring a stock from one branch to another branch, okay? But there's no, you can have sticker, there's only a still slip. You pay for this for the item. Anyway, so they put her in a hearing for misappropriation of company property, blah, 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 and I chaired the hearing. And in the hearing, she says, okay, but she's been taking it for the whole week already. The security only happened to see it on that specific day.
The same product.
That same item. And then when you ask her why, it's like, she doesn't want the others to take advantage of it, to abuse it. So I'm like, but that's exactly what you're doing. Anyway, so I dismissed her, and then she filed an appeal.
Yes.
And she wrote this long appeal letter where she's completely shocked. She cannot believe the company has the audacity to dismiss her for theft or for misappropriation now. And even in the appeal, though, she was protecting it from others, but she's the freaking one using it and taking it home for a whole week without authorization, without paying it. And she doesn't, and you know what, she understands it belongs to the company and she did not have permission, and there are structures and processes to follow, and none of those processes will be for you to take it for free anyway, but anyway. Now she's probably going to go to the CCA because she can understand that it doesn't belong to her.
When it's other people doing it, it's wrong. It's a misconduct. But when it's her doing
when it's senior management,
anyway, it was going to waste. So, but that's not how we do it.
It's not your property. It doesn't belong to you.
Because
you ask the boss if I can have it.
Anyway, you remember last week's episode?
Yeah.
So I went
medical notes one, yeah.
Yes. So I went for an arbitration the next day after we
that's right.
We shot our episode. Then when I got to the CCMA, now one union was representing the employee. So apparently the union rep or the union person was sick. Irony of the story, sick note and then. So another union rep pitched at 10 o'clock. We waited for a long time there. I don't know, the lady's like, no, he's coming. He was getting lost. He does not know CCMA job. I was so shocked. But now, this gentleman, he's not from the same union as the previous gentleman. So I took the sent down notice. I looked at it, and I'm like, after he introduced himself, then
Sparkles, who are you?
Then I'm like, Commissioner, I'm a bit confused. We had this blah 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 union last week, or like the previous time, but this time we have this blah blah blah. So now, which union does this employee fall under? Then I took a step back. The commissioner was doing my work on my
So what happened?
starting asking about the standing leg and then how this guy cannot represent because now this lady must state which union. Then I'm like, and at the workplace, we don't recognize the unions. That's why I'm shocked now. Which one is which one here? You know, but I don't want to go there whereby she must now show us in a payslip if she got deductions and if she's got the membership. I don't want to go there. But I know what I'm doing. I'm planting that seed in the commissioner's head.
You're creating. You know, I remember when I wrote my final exam in matric. I will never forget this. It was my English paper. You know, they will give you have to write like an essay. They will give you a story and ask you questions about the story. And I can't remember what that story was about, but the last sentence of that story is with me to this day. And it says, if you can't convince them, confuse them. That's what you're doing.
This guy is here sweating, trying to explain. And the commissioner says, okay, let's just park this one of a standing leg. Let's park it. Where is the sick note? To show that this guy is really... He started sweating again now. Can I make a phone call? No, eventually they sent him a sick note and then he submitted to the commission and then we postponed the matter. But how I played it, I'm like... I played dumb. Like, I'm a bit confused, commissioner. But eventually...
WhatsApp emoji.
Like the WhatsApp emoji. What's happening in this world?
Yeah, well...
In our world. News, current affairs.
Yeah, well, there's obviously the Greenland issue that's like headline news globally at the moment. Trump wants to annex Greenland and Europe is saying no, he can't have it. So there's a bit of this showdown now. So Trump is not backing off, Europe is not backing off. So we'll see what's going to happen here.
China and Russia are just sitting there. Like,
Russia is like, because now remember, and I saw this last night, Greenland sort of, is not really governed, but the defense is dependent on Denmark. So Denmark is somehow got authority over Greenland. And now interesting, because now you remember, Russia annexed Crimea, and now they're attacking and having war with Ukraine, because they want to probably annex Ukraine too. Now, Savrov, that Minister of Foreign Affairs in Russia last night, he's now obviously enjoying this show now. So he is like, if you look at Greenland, there's no way that it should belong to Denmark. It's much closer to America. So they obviously, I think Trump and Putin, they have like cappuccinos somewhere after work or something.
And they're sipping on it. And then in
South Africa.
In our local news, yes.
Yeah, I think what is for me quite big at the moment, British American tobacco closing down in South Africa.
You know, I fancy working for that company at some point.
You did?
At some point. I'm not, but because I loved how they dressed and how they were traveling, always in the. But look at me now today, I'm traveling.
A couple of years ago, I went to visit the HR manager in head office in Cape Town, and nice offices, fancy. So for me, it's sad that they're going to close down. Look, they are still going to import cigarettes, but the reason why they're closing down,
it's illicit cigarettes.
Apparently, illicit cigarette trade hits about 75% of the market at the moment. So they just say it's not worthwhile to having all these operations and logistics here in South Africa. So they will just import the stuff.
And you know, we're currently also suffering from fake alcohol. You know that?
No.
People are making alcohol in their backyards, back stores.
No, man, that's not. That stuff is illegitimate. You buy it at Woolworths.
What?
Champagne. That's not alcohol.
Nah, you know, which world are you living in?
Alcohol is fake, man. I see wine. No, I'm not a drinker. But
yes.
Sometimes my wife will buy this wine. It's like, it tastes like wine, but it's
okay, I'm telling you now today.
That's fake, man.
There is fake alcohol. Now
but
it's taking
legitimate ones too.
It's taking over the market now, just like illicit cigarettes. Yeah. You remember illicit cigarette boomed during COVID.
That's where the problem came from.
But now our government now is planning to increase syntax in terms of alcohol. Alcohol prices will go up. But I'm saying they're not helping because that's when they're giving the guys who are making fake alcohol more power, because now everyone will resort to that fake alcohol. It's so bad now.
Yeah, but you know, Tsepona, on this British American tobacco situation now, and I was thinking about this, and And I was just thinking, if you look at employment, the whole scope of employment, you have the interests of employers and the interests of employees, and often it seems like these interests are in competition with one another. So you'll often find labor, like employees and unions, will criticize employers, and there's sometimes a lot of negativity created around employers. And I understand there's a certain context within what they say that, but I think we sometimes lose focus on the idea of how beautiful a company really is.
Yeah.
If you really look at it, because now 1,500 employees are going to lose their jobs. Just last night, remember last year they had their retrenchments at Goodyear? Last night they showed the building is empty. They're now selling the building. And this is in PE, I think it is. It's like such a big hole that's been ripped into the community. Now, if you look at British American Tobacco, 1,500 employees are going to lose their jobs, okay? Now, they all have families. Now, whether you're a husband of a wife, or the wife of a husband, or just a son, even a son, they often live with parents or in a community, and they contribute, to the house or whatever. So there's like 1,500 families, let's say times 3 average people in a house, or whatever it may be. Okay, so what is that? Close to 5,000-6,000 people, just from a direct employment perspective, now being impacted. Then you look at suppliers and their employees with their families. You know how many, if you start looking at this, to realize how many people are feeding from one company. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. it is. But it's bad. Yeah.
So I just want to raise this flag a bit, and to say, look, I know employers are not perfect and they do a lot of things wrong, but we want and we need employers.
Yeah,
a company that's successful, it's a beautiful thing. There's just so many people that benefit from it. I'm busy drafting a course on basic entrepreneurship, okay? And I'm actually going to start training on this, because we need to get into the mind shift in South Africa that, entrepreneurship is a good thing. We need to ignite that passion for entrepreneurship. Now, not everybody is entrepreneur. Some people, they just want to be an employee and they're happy with their life and whatever. That's fine. But for us to resolve some of our economic crisis in this country, we need entrepreneurs. It's 100%. A beautiful thing.
Yeah,
anyway, I just really thought about it this week.
What are we talking about today in terms of our line of work?
For today, we're talking about drawing the line, AI in workplace discipline. AI. We're talking about AI today in companies, but specifically in disciplinary procedures, hearings, and obviously now, I suppose, arbitration and labor courts and whatever the case may be. AI is this elephant in the room. It's like a lot of people are not on this bandwagon yet. They're thinking, old school. What is AI about?
Must people be worried of AI, or must they make themselves relative to AI?
Tsepo, I've told myself I'm not going to say this in the public space, but yes, I can't help myself. AI is going to take over. And it's already starting to take over. So if you are not alive to AI yet, you need to wake up and smell the coffee sunshine. It's here. It's in our bones. It's in our communities. People are using it all over. Okay, and it's busy reshaping how we do discipline, how we do discipline hearings. I'm telling you, and we're gonna go through it now. But one thing I didn't want to say is, now look, we are a small employer. We have a national footprint, so we're doing work nationwide. But the reality of the matter is, we don't have a big board like, let's say, Pick and Pay. Yeah. I don't have a marketing executive, an operational executive, this whole team of 20 people that I can go once a month and have an exco meeting. Or should I correct myself? I now do. I have an AI board. And on it I have a strategist, a HR executive, I've got a marketing executive, an operations executive, an IT specialist, and a psychologist. I've got an exco board of 6 people. Now think about this for a moment. Yes, I'm giving IP away, intellectual property. I think this episode should come with a price tag. Because think about this, that marketing executive you have in your company, he's got his qualification and his limited experience. I've got the same guy, but AI based, that's got the knowledge of every marketing ingredient you can find on the planet probably. He's got exposure to unlimited resources. It's like the perfect AI marketing executive. So when I have a meeting with my ExCo board, I will have an agenda, discuss certain things, and everyone will answer me based on their profession expertise. The marketing executive from a marketing executive perspective, the HR executive from an HR executive perspective. So just what I'm saying is, if you're a small employer, you don't need this massive budget.
So now you are taking away employment from people, you see now.
That's AI.
Yeah, but it's a reality. You know, people
It's
are also
giving me the same goodies, but I don't need R1 million a month to pay for them.
even if when you go to, what is this music platform? Spotify.
Yeah.
You will find AI generated albums and they are doing well on Spotify. That's how big is AI.
Oh, okay, so let's come back to disciplinary hearings. I'm going to tell a story, but before I go to the story, I just want to show you quickly from an evidence perspective, and this is quite scary. So whether you are now an employee, let's say in a disciplinary process, let's say like a hearing for instance, or even arbitration, or whether you're an employer, wake up and smell the coffee. The reality is that the evidence submitted before you is not necessarily what it assumes to be. People need to start challenging the authenticity, the validity, and the relevance of the evidence presented to them. Because I'm telling you, cases can be made. Now remember, a decision maker, he only makes a decision on the balance of probabilities and what's in front of him. If evidence is submitted and nobody challenges it, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay? So look at this quickly here. Definitely not that. Okay, but that one. So before we started today, I took a photo of this table here. Oh, but, that's the first one. I took a photo and you can see the spar truck here, the truck here. I then ran that through an AI model and that's the result. Perfect, but it's gone.
Hey.
So I can submit evidence against, let's say UTSEC was an example now, for gross dishonesty in removing or even maybe theft, potentially, of my trokkie. And there's my evidence. When I went home last night, it was there.
Was here.
You were here last, and when I came in the morning, it's gone. There's no breaking, no cracked windows or anything. Anything is
So
fine.
on the balance of probabilities,
You're guilty.
you are the only person who was in this room.
You see how AI
Goeie genade.
is helping us. Well, not helping really, it's actually, or how people are using AI in the workplace now. Just get back to where we were. So yeah, it's interesting. So AI is here. So okay, but I had an experience in November last year, end of November. I did a hearing at a massive global company. It's huge, okay? And I was confronted with AI the first time ever in this way. Okay, so I did a hearing. It was actually a poor performance hearing. But it was senior management, it was senior staff. So I sat there as chairperson, okay? So the whole PIP process was followed and whatever. But at some point, it was the employee, the accused, opportunity to cross-examine the employer. And she took out her phone, ChatGPT, and she started. She nailed that guy. It's probably for close to 2 hours.
Oof.
That she cross-examined. That thing took the whole day from early in the morning till late in the afternoon. Late, like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. For 2 hours she cross-examined. That guy was finished. That employer, the initiator. He was sweating. He was exhausted. I mean, AI ripped him apart. Not in terms of the facts of the case. And this is actually sort of the point of why we're talking about this today. It made little bearing on the outcome of the case. But the reality of the matter, as far as the process is concerned, she asked him, I don't know how many questions, and she just went down that list. And whenever he answered, she types in the answer, and he will just come up with another
follow-up question.
Follow up. So he's saying this, okay, another 20, 30 questions. One after another. And I sit here, and I'm like, what the hell do I do? Because there's no law that says you can't use AI.
Yeah.
And I suppose we all use AI. I mean, I must admit this. If I have a case of arbitration, when we prepare in advance, I will go to AI and say, listen, this is a case, some ideas, and AI will give me ideas. But Tsepo, here's the problem. Here's a saying, or two sayings. AI is like a calculator. Useful until it starts answering the exam for you. And the second question, or key line, AI as a support tool is usually fine. AI as a decision maker or representative is where the problem starts. And this is the thing. So I sat there and I'm like, okay, Toby, you have the common law of fairness too. Okay?
Yeah.
She didn't understand most of the time the questions she was asking. She just asked
because she's just following.
Because chat said so.
Yeah.
So eventually I could pick up. I said, and I could hear, but listen. A lot of the questions, she's just going down the list. A lot of the questions was clearly explained in the evidence in chief. A lot of the questions was already answered. And I eventually had to tell her, and then secondly also to that is, some of the questions was irrelevant to the case, because this is the thing about AI. It starts bending your answers. It starts giving answers which is not really relevant. Let me give you a practical example. I had a problem on a Word document 2 days ago. It's got this tracking thing on. So if you want to make a change, it highlights the change in red and draw a line through it. So if I have a sentence, let's say a word there, I want to delete the word. I can't just delete the word. I delete the word, but the word stays. The word now changes in red with a line through it. And the reason for tracking is that when you send the document, the others can then see the change you want to make and then also comment on it. So instead of me just changing the document, you make the changes, it stays there. It doesn't actually change, it just switches it to a red color with a line for it. When you email it, then everybody can see the changes you are proposing to make. Then everybody can add the comments, yeah, you must change it, or you mustn't change it, whatever the case may be. But in this case, it wasn't a matter of the document to be shared with everybody, for everybody to give me their input. It was me wanting to share. And I couldn't get this thing to stop. So I went to ChatGPT. So I asked Chat, listen, man, there's this thing. I explained the problem, and it said to me, on the top of your Word document, there's an icon, a button. It says tracking. You must go into the menu, then you must say disabled. So I went in there, and there were 3 options, but there wasn't a disabled option. Chat is not always so up to date with the latest version of Microsoft, okay? And one of the options was just for me. So he said then, just for me is the disabled option. So I click on just for me, but it didn't work. So I had this half an hour discussion with Chat, and we couldn't figure out how to fix this problem. And he keeps on saying, aha, I see now what your problem is. This is the answer. And you use it, but it doesn't work. So eventually I said, listen, I'm going to go to Meta AI. Then he said, before you go, just try this. And it didn't work. I went to Meta AI. You know what Meta said? If you look at the icon, it's highlighted. Don't go into the menu, just click on it, it will unhighlight. And it worked.
I've realized that.
But the problem with Meta AI is it speaks in a different language. It says, dude, all you must do is click on it and unhighlight it.
What I've realized that you fight a lot with AI, eh?
Look, we do use AI, but now there's this case. What is this case? And I'm going to get back to where we were. Northbound processing, acting judge DJ Smith in the Gauteng High Court. There was this court case, and the legal team from the company, the employer, you know, in litigation, you enforce a sort of your case, your arguments, by using precedent by using authority, or
Yes.
using other arbitration awards maybe, or labour court judgments, or labour appeal court judgments. So they depended on other case law. And the judge asked, listen, or at some point he told them, listen, I have been looking for the case laws that you've been relying on, and I can't find it. And eventually, the lawyer said, no, but our paralegal, you found it, and she's the one who can testify to it. So the judge said, go call the paralegal. And eventually it came out that the paralegal doesn't exist, it was AI. And those case laws doesn't actually exist. He said he went for every freaking library you can find. It doesn't exist.
So what was the outcome?
So this, now I can't remember what the outcome was, but it was quite embarrassing. The thing is, even in the legal industry, we start depending on AI, and we don't understand that AI is a tool.
It's a tool to
it's not a representative.
Yes.
You see, so to come back to the story, so I saw this woman now asking questions that's irrelevant, and secondly, keep on asking questions that's already been answered properly. So I then said, listen, stop here. I can see you using ChatGPT.
Sunshine.
Sparkles. I can't tell you not to use AI. But you can't sit here and carry on for hours asking questions that's irrelevant, and questions already been answered, and it is clear you have no understanding what you're actually asking. So the proper way will be is that when you prepare for your case, ask the questions, have understanding. So you need to apply your mind. Okay, what is you sort of need to have an understanding of the laws of evidence in a basic way. Okay, you need to know that the question is, what is the relevance of it? You know, and can you actually use it? Does it speak to the case? You know, so I had to limit this person because at the end of the day, it's going to cause havoc.
But surely you had a smart way of doing it so that she doesn't think you are biased or you are limiting her from
you need to be careful
from
now,
expressing herself and then challenging a case and stuff.
Look, I told her, use AI, but understand and know what you're asking. If you ask what is this and it says it's a spartrok, you know, then you've asked the question, you've answered the question. Don't again every second question, what is this, just because Chat says or ChatGPT say you must ask what is that.
So at the end of the day, we still need our pen and paper, because you know when you track down the answers, then you will know that okay, this person answered this, and then
yeah. But you see, Tsepo, the thing is, man, currently AI, people are starting to use it to write emails.
yeah,
People are using it to write reports. Now, we don't use it to write disciplinary hearing outcomes, but I'm sure there must be companies who are starting to use it to write disciplinary outcomes. People are writing articles. People are using it to make videos. I've just been with a company marketing person, you know, they make videos of it. Their marketing videos are like, we will actually spend money to have physical infrastructure here. But now you get other companies that have a fantastic podcast, but it's all AI. It's fake. So we invest in the infrastructure, but other companies don't anymore. So that is AI, but now it's sneaking into HR, into discipline. I mean, you don't even know anymore if you're an employee, if the employer gives you a warning, if he wrote that charge. It's probably ChatGPT who wrote that charge. And there's nothing wrong necessarily with this. But the point I'm trying to carry across is that you as a human still need to interpret what AI is presenting you. I mean, we also, I like AI where I'm Afrikaner, so I sometimes struggle to write English in a very fancy and a proper manner. So if it's really an important email, I will copy my email, write it for AI, take it back, but then I will read it to see if they don't change anything that makes sense. And I've had clients telling me, Josh, you write smart. Wow, well done. You're like, you really improved your command of the English language. Like,
in the olden,
you can use it.
Yeah, in the olden days, they would say, talent alone is not enough. You need to back it up with some education. So I think it's similar to that have the knowledge and then have AI as a support structure.
You need to use AI as a tool. But there's no something else here. I want to tell another story here quickly. Just an example. I did a hearing I think it was on Monday. I did the hearing on Monday. So, I use this as an example now. This employee, it's on video evidence that they're in the electrical industry. So he went to a bin and he took, on camera, he took scrap copper. He went to his desk, he took out his lunch bag, he took out his lunch box, he put the copper inside there and then he left it. Late now that somehow the management got sniff in the nose and they started tracking him on video. And they never searched staff, but that day, 5 o'clock when they went home, they searched staff. And as he saw they searching, he took the copy out and just put it on his desk and then he left. So it's a simple case of dishonesty, whatever the case may be. Not anymore, it's not so simple anymore. So I went to chat now and I pretended to be this employee. And I asked him, and I explained the situation, the charges, and I asked him, give me questions I can ask the initiator on a cross-examination. There's 46 questions here. And that's not follow-up questions. I mean, you're going to make that initiator tired, man.
Yeah.
Huh? And some of the questions are actually quite good, I must say. Test whether the employer can prove ownership and whether they can prove removal. How do you identify this copper as company property? Is the copper marked or serialized? How did you not know that I've put the copper there in the first place? Can you confirm the copper was not scrap or waste? Where was the copper stored before the incident? Because let's just stop here for a moment. Can you confirm the copper was not scrap or waste? Now, when I asked the question, I gave him the charge. But now this is the thing. In terms of the video evidence, the copper is scrap metal. But Chad doesn't know it. So you're going to sound stupid if you ask this question. Now you said that the whole case now is about you taking scrap metal.
Yeah.
Okay? Now you ask, can you confirm the copper was not scrap or waste? I mean, Come on, that's what the case is about. So Chad doesn't know the context really. You see, so you need to interpret this, man. Where was the copper stored before the incident? Well, it's on the video there. It was standing there. You see, so he's asking you all these questions, and some of the questions are quite good questions, but you can't just ask it, man. You have to apply your mind, and that's why you probably still need a legal representative, even if you're in arbitration or maybe in a court or whatever, because you're not going to know what this thing is trying to tell you.
Exactly, no?
So for chair people who are facing this situation, you might ask yourself, what now? I'm sitting here in a hearing and there's somebody on chat, you know. So I think there are 3 elements that's important for me. The one is the common law of fairness. Okay, so I think we understand that you can't really, at this stage, I can't really think of any authority that prohibits the use of AI. I don't think the courts can completely prohibit the use of AI either. But I do think, there's a common law of fairness, because now, to some degree, you're no longer competing against a human, you're competing against a machine. I think the chairperson must be mindful of that. And secondly, also the procedural integrity of this whole process. And then thirdly, the equality of arms, I mean, you're now putting, if you allow this within its fullest context, then you sort of, there's an imbalance here between the one witness, which is now in this case the employer, and the person asking the question. So I think these are some ideas for a chairperson to be mindful of. And then obviously, is that person using it as a tool, or is that person now becoming the representative, the one asking the questions? And I think that is for me a guiding principle. But we need to wake up and smell the coffee. It's here to stay. It's changing the jobs, it's changing the way we do work,
And we need to open here, not only our eyes here, because when someone is asking questions, you need to pay attention to see that this person is not losing us in their ChatGPT platform.
Chipo, some time back I asked AI, how's the future going to look like with AI? And interesting, from a dating perspective, people will have their avatars. So a girl and a boy will not meet each other in person anymore. They will send the avatars to each other. And then based on the feedback they get from the avatars, they will set up a date with them. You're laughing, but also in the office, they say your office staff, for instance, now this is futuristic. I say, for instance, your office staff will be an avatar or maybe some kind of humanoid or whatever the case may be that will be linked to a human sitting at the beach sipping a cocktail. The human gets the money, the humanoid does the work. And if there's an issue, the human will dial into the humanoid to sort out whatever the issue may be or the question may be or whatever, you know. So we're getting to an era where you think you're dealing with a human, but it's not.
Yeah.
And you see it already, YouTube, you know. There's a lion walking on the Nelson Mandela Bridge. And it looks real, man. But it's shit, Japan. It's not true. You're reading news. It's not
And then
real.
it's fake news.
It's AI. It's made up. We don't know anymore if you're dealing with a human. And in the disciplinary process, whether you're an employee or an employer, you must be alive to this fact that what you see in front of you is not necessarily human anymore. It's not necessarily real. So, as a parting, as a closing, I think it's important for companies to wake up and smell the coffee and start looking at drafting AI policies that will regulate this in the workplace. Where's the boundaries?
Yeah, true. I hope they got advice. Yeah, well, the world is moving too fast for my liking. But anyway,
yeah,
adapt or die.
Adapt or die.
Job reviews.
Yeah, as always, fresh vacancies available. There's always fresh vacancies in our networks, Chaile.
Yeah. I was checking on my phone and I saw some pictures from 2019. I'm like, hey, we come from far.
Hey, I'm telling you. Yeah.
When you started the HPN network, but we'll talk about it one day.
HPN is getting a facelift this year. Can't talk about it yet.
Okay.
Watch this space.
Okay. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Cheers. And don't forget to always interact with us on the comment section so that we can respond to your questions. Bye.
Good morning, Harmony people. Let's have a look at some of the vacancies posted nationwide on our Harmony People's Network this week. First up, Holometrics is seeking a driven and articulate sales representatives to join their team in KZN. MISA Center has an available position for a senior labor advisor. In Cape Town, there is an opportunity for an experienced HR generalist in a manufacturing environment. There is also an opportunity for a HR intern in Durban. For the full information of the mentioned positions, how to apply, as well as more available positions, find the vacancy link in the description. You will also find a link to a useful video on how to compose a winning CV and have a successful interview. Tune in again next week for more Harmony vacancies.